Hello, this is Joseph Carlson, and this is episode 120 of Gaming with Grief, and I'm calling this episode Wes's First Time. Because, well, it's my friend Wes Hardy's first time of playing D&D, or running a D&D campaign, I should say. But before I get into that, let me remind you guys that this podcast will hit my website, www.gamingwithgrief.com, Monday morning at 7 a.m. Go there, leave a comment, let me know what you think of the show. Or you can go to gwgpodfellows@gmail.com, drop me an email, let me know what I can do to improve, how you heard about the show, question, comments, all that kind of stuff. Or you can find me on the Apple iTunes app or the Google Play Store. Subscribe to the podcast there. Give me the likes, the shares, the subscribes, that kind of stuff. And you can find me on Twitter at JustLittleJoe. So go to those places, support the show, do what you can, let me know what I'm doing and how I can improve. So this whole episode is an interview I did with my friend Wes Hardy a while ago because he had finished up a massive portion of his campaign that he planned for the first time. He wasn't taking over anybody's notes. This was basically his first official foray, introduction into his own D&D campaign, from what I can tell from talking to him. He's just going to share his own opinion about what he thinks about the game and stuff like that, and I ask him questions. I don't really do a lot of interviews. Wes is a good friend now. We've only known each other for about a year, but it's good to get to know people. And I think I said, I don't know if I said it in the podcast or off brand, but I don't understand how people get friends anymore. I'm an old man. I'm 41, going on 42. So it's good to meet new people and, have a lot of common interests and have a good time. So, enjoy our talk. Bye. So, you and I talked, we've talked off board about what it is like now that you are an official DM, because you told us before you started DMing the group that you were an unofficial DM, and I laughed. So now that you are an official DM and we've all got to level 4, that's kind of like, the next, challenge rating, I guess, would be for 5e?
Sure. And official DM.
Yeah, I didn't know
officially. Officially, I've hosted my own campaign long enough to get you and the other players to level 4. So that, as official as that is in that capacity, we're there, man.
Yeah,
I've arrived.
Well, what did you mean originally about unofficially? Is it just because I know you did that campaign with us where you took someone's notes. So is that what you meant of I haven't really planned my own thing yet? Is that what you were talking about?
I had never DM'd. I personally had never DM'd a game.
Oh, okay.
So unofficially, because in my head I'm I have all these ideas and the idea of how I think this should go down and the kind of story that I would like to tell and the balance between combat and role play and intrigue and politics and that kind of stuff. In my head, I'm I know exactly what I want to have happen. Put it into practice? No, never had. So that's the unofficial capacity. In my head, I'm I'm a total DM. I'm ready to go. But
so in your brain, you were I'm totally prepared.
Yeah, but in practice, no. Okay, not at all.
So I guess that's a good jump off. First off, I think I asked you off board, and I want to ask officially: did you have a good time so far with what you've done and stuff like that?
Yeah, so far I am having a great time, and some of it has been pretty roughshod. And I have our first couple sessions kind of bled from our session 0 and really talking about expectations and doing some character building, and those almost just kind of naturally threw themselves into a session. Right. I feel like we had 1 or 2 that were like that. And honestly, for those, my opinion of my own performance is a moot point. It's more about was that enjoyable? Because I just made that shit up, and we were just flying off the seat of our pants.
The session 0?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I had a good time. I think that's it at the end, we've talked about my campaign I was running where I would have sessions where I'm that didn't go well. But I mean, you're somewhat well. I mean, did you feel like at the end of your sessions, you're like, that's kind of where I wanted to be. That's things happened the way is that what you felt when you were running it? You're like, yeah, this is exactly where I wanted to be at the end of this session. Like.
Yeah. Honestly, yes. So that's one reason why I remain invigorated and excited about this, because even through some of those times where I hadn't planned anything out and was really just kind of freestyling it, and hoping that it wasn't that apparent to you guys as the player characters, because I feel like that would be worse than anything, is that you're along for this ride, but you feel how unprepared it is. Like, I don't want that, and I feel like that would definitely, if I was a player in that kind of atmosphere, and if the game master wasn't able to really adapt to situations and kind of have some free flow, random way of dealing with things, then I probably wouldn't enjoy it. So that's, for those couple sessions where there was less structure, that was one of my big concerns, is that you guys were going to be looking at this like, this.
I think there was only one time where I'm like, oh, you obviously didn't plan that. Which there was we fought like a loth spider, basically. I keep forgetting the name of it.
Drider.
We've
right.
There was one section where like, and a Drider appears. That was the one where I was like, I don't think he planned this, because you had battle maps for everything else and kind of could put us on the board, but that was something you're like, here it is. Here's a photo of it. That was the one time where I was like, which was fine. I mean, being a DM where someone's like, hey, I want to go left, and you're like, I haven't planned left. That was the one part where I was like, yeah, this was not on the itinerary of what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was the only time that I really felt like, okay, so he definitely didn't plan that. But other than that, I felt it was good. I mean, it's been good so far. It's definitely like when as a player, when you step in anything new, it's definitely like you want to see what the cadence is. I mean, mine starting out was kind of action heavy, but yours was more intrigue. I think my later campaign is going to go more intrigue and action light. So you kind of started maybe the opposite of what I started. So
yeah, I just, my experience playing, my experience as an observer, there's so much digital content to digest nowadays too. You can go to the extreme of the professionals with like Critical Role and that kind of stuff, and that is, it's funny, you very quickly like dip a toe into the Matt Mercer effect, right, where they talk about this effect of how incredible this motherfucker is, how well thought out and planned everything is, how much he knows every single rule and every single aspect about everything, and has voices and all this stuff. So this idea of the Matt Mercer effect being, it can set the bar way too high.
Yeah.
For anybody, and especially if you're going in there like as a GM, and you're thinking, okay, like I want to do something like that. Oh man, that's not a benchmark anyone should ever put themselves up against.
Yeah.
It's the gold standard. I mean, the dude's a successful voice actor. I mean, this is what he does, right? He's an actor as well. So,
no, I just kind of realized looking at Critical Role stuff, I'm like, well, I'm not ever going to be, like enough therapy and just self-reflection with D&D and other TTRPGs is RPGs have taught me that, I think I'm okay now with like being at a certain level, like I just feel that it's okay. Like, not everybody has to be Matt Mercer. If everybody was Matt Mercer, then Matt Mercer wouldn't be Matt Mercer. Like there's
Correct.
a reason why he's there.
Yeah.
And as long as I'm getting good feedback and people are telling me they're having a good time and people seem engaged in the story, that's what I care about. So.
Yeah. So I brought that up because in my own head, there's like, we're always going to be our own worst critics and kind of set expectations that are, who knows, beyond our own selves or whatever. But for myself, like I want an engaging, fun story And I don't want anything necessarily to be just too overbearing. Like, I don't want it to just be that all you do is combat the entire time, or all you do is like talk and role play the entire time. I want like a nice, happy middle ground for those kinds of things. And so I'm kind of trying to still figure that out. Again, so we've had 4 real sessions, I would say.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
And yeah, and I personally, I really like where the story has kind of evolved to. I'm very into this idea that now you guys are basically conscripted to be a mercenary band to help overthrow a particular house so that another house can gain power and prominence, and you guys stand to basically have anything you want,
right.
Including indefinite freedom, and that can be identified and signified with some sort of badge or something that basically says, like, you are not owned and you don't need to be owned, you know? So, I mean, that is probably end game for this narrative is what you guys are working towards. Hopefully you can accomplish that, because if you do, then you can go anywhere and do anything, and you're not, I mean, will you be male scum still? Sure. You're a drow in a matriarchal society, absolutely. But you will have freedom outside of what anyone else knows. So it is possible that those people exist. So.
Yeah. I mean, I told you I was excited to do the Underdark campaign just because the only other experience I had with it was I was a human and I got drugged down there. I was like a slave. And, I mean, we still are because we chose males for some reason. But the idea that, like, we want to be down there, like, we're there doing something was still more exciting than just being somebody's, you know, cannon fodder for,
sure.
you know, whatever. So,
yeah. Well, and I really love this idea of a campaign set in the Underdark with Underdark races. I just think it's really fun.
Yeah, no, but that's, you know, you started and said this is more, I think you told this in session 0, like, this is going to be more intrigue, you know, than combat, which I'm fine with, you know. I don't care either way. So it doesn't bother me either way to be, you know, it's about intrigue, darn it. I'm not, but I do know some players are like, can we just punch people? Like, I just want to punch people, you know, or stab people.
Well, so, I mean, at the end of our last session, I just, because it seemed like, all right, folks are probably ready to have that now. Although I was, like, I really enjoyed the role-playing that transpired in the throne room.
Yeah, that was good.
I thought that was great, man. I mean, we had the mother of what was it, House Vendrée.
Well, no, I do like, and I think I told you this off board, but I mean, officially, I don't care about characters' backstories except for how we interact with each other, you know? So, like, I don't care about, you know, I've said to you, I don't care about Dexter, the assassin rogue. I don't care about his backstory. He showed it to me, and I don't care. But it's not being cruel. It's just like, my character wouldn't know this, and 2, what does that mean when you and I are at a table talking? It doesn't mean anything, you know?
Sure.
And
sure.
To me, that's cool. There's been some really good role-playing moments. The monk has really embraced being a drunken master, and he's brewing his own ales right now. You know,
he's doing great.
And the fact that everybody that he's given ale to has failed their constitution check has been amazing. And
it has provided some serious comedy. It really has.
Yeah.
It's provided some light high moments for sure.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's me or another character, but we're like, maybe we should just stop handing it out to at least the merchants, because we do need to buy stuff from them, and you keep knocking them out. It doesn't help us, you know, purchase gear or anything, you know. So, yeah, I mean, I was looking online, and some people, I don't know if you've read this or if you've seen it in the books, but, like, there's tiers to play, I guess. You know, from, like, 1 to 5, you're a certain tier. From, like, 6 to 10, you're a certain tier. From, like, 11 to 15, you're a certain tier. And then 16 to 20, you're a certain tier. Like, I read online, like, I've seen it in the book somewhere, but there was some message boards. I went to the D&D message board, and people kind of, like, a lot of people agreed with this. It's like, from 1 to 5, you're basically like a local hero. Like, the town knows about you and stuff, and you help out. But then from, like, 6 to 10, it's almost like there's a king in the area. You're in a bigger town, like Neverwinter or something. and they may ask you to help because they've heard of you and stuff like that. And then from 11:15, it says like you're a national hero, and you probably get some lands, and you're starting to get like notoriety, and then at that point they said you shouldn't be dealing with goblins; those are underling minions. It's like your turn to basically be a general or whatever. And then from 16 to 20, people talked about you're not really fighting that much anymore. You're more of an advisor because you're so powerful. There's no reason for you to go on the road or.
Oh, so it's a like notoriety ranking system essentially.
Yeah, and they were just using the D&D levels, and I've heard that before of like 1 to 4, 5 to 10, stuff like that. Like, and also it affects the challenge rating of the monsters, which there's been a lot of talk online on how ridiculous challenge ratings are because you can have somebody fight 1 second level challenge rating and they just go through it, or like 8 challenge rating ones and it kills everybody. Like it. Challenge ratings don't really make a lot of sense sometimes. So,
yeah, I don't personally think that a whole lot of stock or merit has to be put onto those particular numbers. When I'm creating a encounter, the challenge rating definitely has something to do with it, but there's so much flexibility. I mean, the flexibility is infinite there. Right? Because really, you can have something and you can weaken it or strengthen it or whatever, and then it comes down to luck, man. A lot of it comes down to rolls. You guys in the cellar of the house there, you guys fought an elite drow guard who was basically one of the matron's top guards, and his hit points. Were the combined value of all 4 of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he had a large wolf spider with him and a lowly drow with him, who is probably going through his motions to see like, hey, are you worth a shit or do you suck?
Yeah.
You guys came out victorious, but it was close, and Roland was one of the most successful characters in that encounter.
Well, let's be honest. For some people, it was very close. For other people, we were fine. There was a couple of people in that group. I know the assassin rogue couldn't hit with his crossbow to save his life. He kept missing and shooting the floor and stuff like that, which doesn't look good when you're like, damn it, like he kept hitting the ground and stuff. So,
well, I have met with everyone now individually, and we've recalibrated and rebalanced statistics and whatnot. Because of course we had Darkin, we had Jesse who went in and like mid-session re-rolled all his stats to just like have god tier stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of that's a weird decision.
I had to stop that. Yeah, I had to stop that and just go, it's point by, but I'm sorry. And he goes, well, what about Roland? What about Joe's character? And I'm like, look. He undersold himself with his rolls. I mean, his point buy could have technically had more going towards his total values.
Yeah, I mean, I only had one really stellar stat. I mean, everything else is either at 0 or negative. Like, so.
Exactly. So, but that's fine. I mean, we level set that for everybody, and Dexter, same thing. Made sure that he went back, and he's sitting on the point buy stuff. But the thing that I was telling Todd for Dexter, this rogue character who's kind of fashioning himself an assassin, was I want him to think more 3-dimensionally in the environments, because he has the ability to get height advantage and do other things to really maximize his role and do some incredible damage. And I'll give him those opportunities, but he has to be thinking about it. I won't spoon feed him those, right?
Yeah.
But if we walk into an encounter, I'll give him an opportunity to scan the surroundings. Maybe there's a handhold or something up on a wall in a shadow, and he can grab it and stick there and be hidden for a second, and then have an opportunity to have a stealth attack. He could do that stuff, but he has to be actively thinking about it. And this is what happens when you start playing a little bit more challenging character types, is that you can do a lot, man. And the way in which an assassin is the most powerful is striking from the shadows, right?
Right. Yeah.
But if you never do anything to try to be in the shadows, then you just play a fighter. just play a fighter
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're not doing anything with your character otherwise, right? And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum with Jesse, with Darkin, and Jesse wants to do everything all at once.
Yeah. Well, I noticed
Which
that he made a fighter, which I was excited about, but then he goes, "Oh, I'm multiclassing," and I go, "Into what?" And he said, "A wizard," and I was like, "What?" Like that. And I was like, "Okay, so I could see like an enchanting wizard, like abjuration, something that would like buff basically you or whatever." And he's like, "No, I want to be a necromancer." I'm like, "That's like complex." You know what I mean? Like to do that, it's hard to do that. It's hard it's hard just being a necromancer, let alone a fighter that has like action surge and you have action surge. You can take another whatever. You get second wind later, like all that stuff. Not only that, but if he's raising the dead and doing it multiple times and rolling for them, it's like, man, come on.
Yeah. And I mean, like a necromancer is probably predominantly rocking concentration spells, where you're having to juggle that stuff because you can't have multiple, and so you need to know when you're going to cut that off and ignite the next one, and
right.
Trying to control multiple mobs and that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's very interesting. So like I mentioned, I am going to be folding my friend Bethany into this group, and I don't know exactly how the introduction takes place yet. That's something I'm putting a lot of thought into because I feel like that could be challenging, and if you try to just like force people into a role-playing situation to be like, oh, here's this person, it could just be like, it could be mad awkward and fall flat and not work well. So there has to be some event or some good catalyst that really introduces a new player into the mix.
Well, I mean, honestly, the house that we're working for, we could be mercenaries, but they might not trust us, and they're like, "You're gonna take this chaperone with you," and we could be like, "What?" And they're like, "We're not just gonna let 4 male slaves, you know what I mean, just walk around the Underdark, So
here's the reason why that won't be what happens. The reason why that won't be what happens is because when you guys exit the walls of this house, you're blacklisted. They don't want any connection to you whatsoever, so that you can accomplish your potential tasks, and it has zero tie back to them.
Right.
That's what has to happen. So you guys are playing a very risky game because you're assuming all the responsibility and danger, and you have no one backing you up.
Right.
So if you're unsuccessful, capture something like that, you can squawk all you like about what you claim to know or where you came from or who set you on your task. Who's going to believe you,
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Well, I mean, we'll see how it goes because 2 members of the group definitely know a lot about the Underdark, and even though I'm a drow, I was ferreted away when I was young, and now I'm back, so I look like everybody, but I'm not from around here, basically. So
Right. Yeah, everybody knows more about the Underdark than you do, but specifically Jenkins and Dexter know more about Menzo Berenson and the workings within the city and how those things function.
Yeah,
so you're getting a cold, hard, just dip into it, and it's from what I've understood so far for Rowan, he is disgusted by it, and as he should be. I mean, it's.
Well, yeah, he just doesn't, he was kind of a pet when he was young, and the idea of being a pet or being in chains again just does not appeal. He's already done that, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt type stuff. So he's definitely looking for his way out. Like, how can I do this so I'm free of all this? But I was going to ask you, like, how have you liked Roll20? Because I know we use that early on, and we've kind of used it in different games.
Yeah.
And then I didn't use it for a while. Then I used another program, which we used, I didn't like. So we're kind of back to Roll20. Do you like Roll20, or are you kind of like?
So I like it because it's freeware, right?
Yeah.
And there are a ton of assets that I can find for tokens and whatnot. And strictly for a virtual tabletop, I like it.
Yeah.
I do. There are some sounds that I have there, and now, especially for like using Zoom or something, and I can just share sound. I can grab ambient sounds from YouTube or something and have them playing in the background. That for me is like, I really enjoy having those sounds back there. They kind of keep the immersion for me. They keep my head where I want it to be, you know. Is it necessary? No. I just think it really helps. And I think it also helps with some of our other players. Todd, for sure. I think it helps his brain to just be like, oh, fuck, okay, I'm like in this cave, you know?
Yeah, I mean, the Dexter, the assassin, he mentioned that about other programs, about when we weren't using that or whatever. He said it's hard to visualize, like, how far away am I from this person? How far is this? Like, you know, I've been playing D&D a long time, and you would get, before we had miniatures or maps, there would be a, well, what's going on? So you'd have to break out dice on a table and say, okay, you're the 4-sided dice. He's the 20-sided dice. He's coming at you. He's this far away. You're within range. Like, that kind of stuff does help kind of situate, you know, your self in the game. So
what I am trying to do, I don't want as much reliance on some of these kind of virtual tables and visuals. I like this idea of like the high level overview of Mensa Berenson with the main houses kind of called out. I feel like it provides a pretty good visual that where they're just kind of talking into, and well, it looks like there's a lot going on. It's not something that you necessarily need to be like, what the, you know, stare directly into.
I mean, I like how you've done it so far, where you basically just do the battle maps in roll 20, and then, or like if you go into a town, that's in roll 20, but like you just have the map of Mensa Berenson up with some cave music of creepy crawlies. Like that sets the tone for, you know, you're traveling, blah 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 type stuff, you know. So I think it's good. It helps visualize it just enough. And I mean, I've talked to you before, like even in Zoom, I'll minimize people's portrait. I just like listening to you tell the story and stuff like that. You know, I don't need to look at everybody's faces, because I even realized that when I was doing Dragon Age, when we were going to Zoom and sheltering in place, that kind of cadence is hard sometimes when everybody's a thumbnail and you're trying to focus on people and things don't hit the right way. So I just said, let's just, for me, like with your campaign, I'm just looking at a map and listening to your voice. And I muted my mic a lot because I have dogs and I have a fan that's loud, and I didn't want to interrupt anything, you know. And then so
it's been the same for me, and for the most part, between kind of the ambient sound that might be playing for a specific location, as well as a kind of a high level view of where we're at. I'm not looking at everybody either. But I have felt like we've been doing a good job of. I feel like people are quite connected and think about it, you know. And we've had our challenges and whatnot, but we address those things and we're kind of moving through them. And so,
I think
some of that participation is really improving. So
the only challenge I think we have now is just getting a schedule under wraps, and then also. You know, you and the other Todd are on East Coast time, and then we're on West Coast time. So trying to, like, I'd rather do it on Saturday. I talked to you, but I know one of the group members can't, and so we're working on that. I hope he's able to switch over, because I know it'd be easier for you guys to be able to log in on a Saturday at like 1 p.m. your time instead of 7 p.m. your time. And then, because I mean, with my campaign, if it was good or bad, we still had like a 4-hour session mostly, where you could really dig in and get a lot done, you know, either dialogue or combat or whatever. And it feels like now it's like I just have 2 hours because it's like midnight here, you know, like especially with one of our group members, and that's hard. That's always a thing, and that's why I think you said from here on out you want to do every 2 weeks. So like we're gonna meet next Friday and then do every 2 weeks, barring
we're gonna try.
Barring any like major problem or whatever, you know.
Right.
So
we are going to try. So let's, you know, we'll see what happens.
Is there anything that happened during the sessions that was completely, I mean, obviously you can't plan for our actions, but is there something that totally shocked you that like the group member did or whatever, that you were like, what the heck? Like, I didn't see that. Like you said, you had to come up with some stuff on the fly, but was there something out of left field where you were like, I did not see that coming at all? Like,
no, nothing too insane yet, to be completely honest. I mean, we haven't had any chicken bomb moments or anything, but
that's a massive.
Nothing insane yet. I did think there might be more opposition to blindly trying to go and rescue the lady from the depths of the capital city. And I thought that there might be more inclination to follow old Gregnock and roll out with the whole troop, no longer bound to servitude because she's gone. But I did have contingencies either way. In my head, honestly, I more so wanted you guys to pursue that avenue and get into the city because I wanted you to have the taste of it, feel that environment, get into this political side of it, have to go through some of this stuff, and hopefully eventually make a decision to say, we need to get the hell out of this place, right? Like, this is horrible. We should not stay around. But I did not see everyone being on board with that. I, for sure, in my head, I was like, oh, at least two of them are going to be like, fuck no, let's go, dude. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But I thought there was going to have to be some tips about that. But no, everybody was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I still don't know why Jesse's character, the Bugbear, did what he did. I think both Todds, I think their characters, Dexter and Jenkins. I think they were like, their thing was, like, I know Jenkins said to somebody, the devil we know is better than the devil we don't know. So, like, she's a known quantity. She treats us okay. She pays us. She's been good to us, so we're going to help her out. And I think the other Todd, his thing was, well, I have Stockholm Syndrome. She's been nice to me. I'm kind of forced in this mental position to help her, even though I probably shouldn't, and I probably should walk away, but, like, she's kind of brainwashed me. And I don't know why Darkin did what he did. My character immediately was like, well, yeah, the easy thing would be to run, but like I did it in the game where my character said, I want you to owe me a favor, and I figured if I saved her, she would owe me a favor. So my thing was like, I mean, they pull me back in, but if I do this thing, I could get a really powerful favor. So and then, I had a talk off board with one of the characters where he said, it's crazy how we all have Stockholm Syndrome and we just want to go save her. And I said, I don't just have but I didn't tell him that. I said, yeah, it's pretty crazy, but in my mind I was thinking, I just want her to owe me a favor. Somebody in power that owes you a favor is a big deal. So,
it's a massive deal. It's a massive deal.
And so that's what I wanted. And to run and everything, it wasn't because it's like I've probably been rounded up before, or I've been caught before. So it's the idea that, I'm gonna be caught. So I thought, I'm kind of out on a limb here. So, yeah. That's what I thought that was my, justification for everything was I'm out on a limb and I'm not going to make it. So I need to help this woman. She can owe me a favor, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
My character is very much that's a tomorrow problem, right now, this is what I'm dealing with. So, is there anything that you wish, you've only been doing this a few sessions, even between, obviously you took, this is your thing from the beginning. Is there anything that you haven't liked about the experience so far that you're just like, I really need to work on X, Y, and Z, or are you kind of just open for everything right now, or?
I'm definitely open for everything. It's I personally like a heavier kind of role-playing experience, and so it's what I'm attempting to cultivate with some of this stuff. And it is outside of the comfort zone of a couple people. And I think it's going well. And I'm enjoying seeing people kind of open up to this idea of really role-playing and putting themselves in the shoes of somebody and thinking and making decisions and making commentary and just kind of embodying the character that they've chosen to be. That's what I'm enjoying. I don't think it's a miss or anything like that. I think it's going well, and I kind of want to play more into that. I want to get people's brains working in that kind of role-playing mindset. and I think that it's been, I don't know, I think it's gone really well. I could take somebody like Todd, for instance, who I know because he's told me that like that's a space where he's really not very comfortable. Right?
Yeah, I mean, he told me that as well. That he's
Right.
not good with that. So he always picks. I think he purposely picks the comfort of like similar characters. They have horrible backstories, tragic backstories, and then they're kind of in it for themselves. But
Absolutely.
I think that's more of a comfort to him than, hey, why don't I try something completely different and try to
Definitely
do something different than.
Well, but even outside of like the comfort of the mindset you choose, I'm looking to just get people really speaking from the perspective of their character and just trying to embody that. And I think that we're doing well. I think we're kind of nurturing that, and I'm enjoying seeing that taking place and getting people's brains kind of churning along those lines.
So I know, like, when I plan, I try to do like I try to do it by beat. Like I'm like, okay, these two things I want these two things to happen in the session. Do you like outline everything and write pages and pages, or you just say, hey, I want this to be a mystery, and this is the main setup is they're gonna help this house overthrow another house, or are you like, session 1 to whatever, they're gonna do this, and then they're gonna do this, and then like. How much have you planned so far? Has it been like 40% playing, 60% planning, or like 50-50, or like 80-20, or?
That's a really good question. I'm less traditionally structured in that sense. So I have a higher level idea of what I would like to see transpire. And from that, I kind of spiderweb down with a few different ideas of like, well, what else could go on? And what might be necessary to make this thing come to fruition. Regardless of what my players do, I can have an end goal that is going to happen, but we can get there through numerous routes. Right?
So it's basically like going through the woods and finding the main road. Like sooner or later you're going to find the main road, but you're still in the woods kind of going about your own way. The way in which
I plan is kind of spiderwebby. It's like a choose your own adventure book in a way. There is an end game, but there are multiple ends to the means or ways to the end there. So, like right now, for instance, you guys are helping to help this house overthrow and accomplish a particular task. Now, there's two outcomes that can happen ultimately. You're successful, you're not successful.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's only two outcomes. And so underneath those two outcomes, there are multiple branching and connected events that could potentially transpire that result in either the success of this mission or the failure of this mission.
Yeah, that's true. We're either going to live or die, basically, because we're not, if we fail, then I'm sure the people that are hiring us to do this or have tasked us with doing this are going to kill us. Like, they're not going to be happy about it. Or the people that...
death is not necessarily the outcome of failure for this. Not for death for you isn't necessarily the outcome for this. You're unbranded. You're not tied to this necessarily. And if somehow what goes down is a failure on your part, but it results in the outing of the higher party and their intentions, they could be eviscerated 1,000%. And then where are you guys? You're right back where you started with fucking nothing, with nobody, and you're nobody. That's entirely possible.
Yeah, that's pretty great. I like that outcome. That's pretty good.
That is entirely possible. Or shit, you could be 100% successful. This house could take over. They could get exactly what they want. There could be an extinction level event against the other house, and then you guys are owed a serious fucking prize that you might get to collect on and then go do whatever you want. So there are some strange outcomes. Is one of the outcomes that you all are dead? Sure. That could be an outcome too.
That could be the thing. That could be the thing. Yeah.
But this idea that your mission is successful or it's unsuccessful is not mutually exclusive to you being dead.
Good.
That is not what that means.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, so so when we did the character creation and stuff like that, were you upset that everybody picked Drow? Well, mostly. Did because I know you wanted one character to be the Bugbear just because it was out of their wheelhouse. But did you get? I mean, were you like okay with You're like, okay, I guess this is what it is, or because I remember you asking us, "Are you guys sure? Are you sure you guys, like, because you guys are basically slaves at this point? Are you sure that you guys want to be slaves?" Like,
Yeah, no. So they're no, not upset at all. Very pleased with everyone's selection and idea of who they wanted to play. Um, I personally think bugbears are awesome.
well, yeah, I mean they have extra reach and
I saw so much potential in that. I wanted somebody to just be like, I'm gonna be the dopest badass bugbear fighter who, if I'm using a pole arm, my reach is 15 foot. You could be a demon.
Yeah.
But no one wanted that. So
no one wanted to do it. No one wanted to do it. And the other guy, one of the other characters or the other PCs, he made his rogue, and we were like, why don't you be a fighter or something? And he's like, I've spent a lot of time in this, and we're like, okay, then so be it. Like I wanted him to be like a religious zealot. You know what I mean? Something just completely, but I mean, like you said, it's hard for him, and it was comforting to do that, I guess. So I guess if it works out for him and he enjoys doing it, then.
Yeah, and so that's why over the last week I met independently with each person to ensure that they were satisfied with their choice and they are enjoying the direction that their characters are going, that the story is going. And it's not to say that it isn't like the only opportunity. Okay, this is it. You either bail out now or you're stuck with this character. No, I mean, look, if you came to me or if anyone else within our party came to me in a month and they're just like, you know what, I hate this character. I'm not having any fun at all. Like the overall satisfaction for everybody is more important to me than anything else. I'm not so stuck in my own story that I can't make any sort of accommodation. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
If you were just like, you know what, I lost it. Like I'm not feeling this thing anymore. Then I'd say, okay, look, we're gonna kill him off, and I want you to roll someone that you do want to play, and we'll bring him in. We'll fold him in. I just think that's more fun for everybody. So
I was kind of worried about that with the player that decided to be a monk. Because I said, I'm excited to see someone playing a monk, and he was thinking about it. And I think when he started out, he's like, I don't know if this is for me. But I think as he's leveled up and got some tools, I think he's getting more and more excited about being a monk, which is actually kind of cool to watch. Somebody get very excited. Like, somebody's like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And then you see him kind of turning on, like, this is pretty cool. Not only do I get to hand out free alcohol, because he picked the Drunken Master style, but he is being more effective in combat. He just needs to roll a little bit better, but he's doing better in combat and being more effective. So
well, and as his key points grow, he's gonna turn into the walking macro where he's gonna do 400 things, and it's gonna be annoying because he is gonna devastate stuff. And also it's little concessions that I see within the kind of customized experience for the players. Something like Jenkins, our Drunken Master monk, we're giving him weaponry. We're giving him unarmed weapons, which are essentially brass knuckles.
Yeah.
So we're making those custom. And I've already done it for him once. We've created one I made for him, Knuckles of Laceration. And they just do +2 to damage. They don't affect his ability to hit or anything like that. But he's got a fairly decent little buff, so when he's hitting, he can do an extra 2 damage every time. And it's those kinds of things that I think they're so critical to a good experience for the whole party. Look, if I see that someone is failing every single time at the exact thing they're trying to be good at, we're going to find a way to give them a little bit of an advantage so that there is some positive experience there.
Yeah, I think he's a good character and he's liking his character, but he even was frustrated because he was rolling so terribly like the last whatever, where he's just
exactly.
he's like, man, come on. Like, I'm supposed to be able to hit this thing like 3 times in my turn with flurry of blows and stuff like that, and I just can't connect, you know?
Well, and the thing that I really drove home on that note was like, look, you guys weren't supposed to win that encounter in the cellar of House Vendry. I mostly plotted it like, okay, look, you're going to have a combat experience at the end of this session, but I was just going to have you guys get your asses handed to you.
Yeah. And then we wake up in the infirmary and they say, by the, like, yeah.
Right, exactly. But that isn't what happened, and people started playing really well. People could have played better. Our assassin could have been thinking 3-dimensionally. He could have been on the walls, all kinds of stuff. And we'll get there, but it's this understanding of who your character is. The bugbear finally did something physical, which I'm just like, what is your aversion to this? Why are you so... You just go out of your way to avoid doing the thing that you're good at. What is your...
I think for him, like, if I was him, I would have went total wizard, because the idea was the last 2 big things he's done, the Dragon Age thing and then my D&D thing, was he was always picking physical fighters, you know? So it was like he's doing it again, which is cool because he's a bugbear, but he's like, I guess I'll hit him if I have to. Like that idea of like he wants to branch out. I would have, if I was him, I'd have been like, no, I'll be the healer, but I am a pacifist. I'm here to heal people because I'm sick of playing 2 or 3 campaigns where all I do is whack people. I want to do something different, you know, where I'm doing support spells or something like that, you know. So it's hard.
I mean, if I was, it doesn't bother me. I like being a tank. I enjoy dishing out extreme amounts of damage, and just looking at the opportunity that was there with the bugbear, I was like, bro, somebody can be a full bugbear berserker with a polearm, and literally you can be whirlwinding from 15 feet away and just turning things to chop suey. Yeah. You could be disgusting.
Especially with multiple attacks as a warrior, where you just cut through people and you go to the next person and you cut through the next person, and then and then you get, you know, I haven't really played a warrior that much, but the idea of like you probably get a bonus action if you connect or kill somebody, you know, there's stuff like that too, where if you kill someone, you can go to the next target and like, you know, it's still your turn. And you're
John Wick with 10-foot arms.
Yeah, you're basically you're a human or mortal lawnmower, you know, where you're cutting through people and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So
it's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. So, but there is this kind of exciting element, and I haven't even told anybody else yet, so I will have to have that opportunity to do so. But we are going to be folding a 5th person into our campaign, and that is my friend Bethany. She lives in California, and
another West Coaster that you'll have to plan for because you're on the East Coast. So
she's infinitely flexible, though, man. She's all over with that. It's all good. So, but yeah, I'm gonna step in with quite a unique character, and we're gonna find a good way to fold that in. I think that it will be a really good dynamic. I think that it's gonna be, a really nice balance within the setup we've got right now. And I am just, like I was saying, I'm personally excited about where this story has progressed so far. I think it's really cool. I did have an overall idea of what I wanted to happen. It started coming to fruition the last couple rounds, and I was like, oh man, okay, this is tight.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting. And like you said, she's thinking, I don't know if she's totally decided on it, but she's thinking of playing a female drow, which would be a great spokesperson for a bunch of people that are either slaves or cast out of regular society, where you say, well, you go talk to them because they're not going to listen to us. Like if we get her on our side at least, and she's traveling with us and she starts to believe in the A team that we have assembled or the C team that we have assembled, telling her like, listen, you're going to have to go talk to these people because they're not going to listen to us. So you guys
can at least look like bodyguards and like not be harassed or something, right?
Yeah, because I mean, even when I went to the market, I knew mentally, and my character knew, like, hey, I'm going to be ripped off. These people don't like men. And something that went for a gold, they're like, well, we give you like 3 silver for it. And you're like, this is what it is. You know, like, I don't want it. Just give me the money. But if we had a female drow with us, it's like, hey, go talk to them. This is what we want, So,
Right.
I mean, that and then if she's a healer, that would be great too because we don't really have that. So.
That's right. Yeah. There is some intention there. Yeah, to fold some ability to keep your asses alive for sure. So there's a good creative spark happening, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to fold that in. I think it will add some really cool layers. I think it's going to be very fun.
It'll be good. It's always good to I think being an old man, I don't understand how people get friends anymore. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to meet a new person to be like, I don't know you. This is great.
Well, we didn't know each other all that long, yeah.
Yeah, it's it's been good.
I would consider you a friend.
Yeah.
So it's like,
it's just one of those.
How do you make new friends? I don't fucking know. You just occasionally run into some like-minded people, and then you're just like, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think I would run anybody from Tennessee. That's for sure. Randomly in my day-to-day being on the West Coast, I didn't think that was gonna happen. So.
No, yeah.
No, I thought about that. I thought about that. When was the last time I actually met someone as a friend besides you? I was like, I think that was it for several years. I think it was just Wes. I don't think it was anybody else. So, yeah, you're like, hey, I'm gonna bring someone in the group. I'm like, I get to meet a new person. That's great, especially with COVID and everything. And we're in lockdown.
Do I have to wear a mask or?
Yeah, I know it's Zoom and all, but. So my last question to you is how do you feel this campaign is going to be, obviously it's going to be more political intrigue, but what I try to do with my campaigns is at least give people a heads up, of hey, this session is going to be a little bit more combat heavy or not. So that way people kind of mentally prepare, or are you just going to say, hey, this is going to be session 4. Are you going to tell people, I'm not trying to affect how you DM. I'm just saying is there, are you going to do that? Are you going to tell people here's what to expect? Because you kind of did set expectations already about this is just going to be more political intrigue than it is combat,
So I maybe I did. I don't know. Look, so I am not trying to set this up to be something that is exclusively a thing, right? So it's not to say that, hey, this is just heavy political intrigue. That's all you should expect from this experience. No. I just want layers of that. I want that to be present. From a game master perspective, I want to get you guys out of Menzoberranzan. I don't want you sitting in the capital city of Drow society for the entire fucking experience. That, for me, will get boring. Right. And it's also incredibly dangerous. But you guys are here, and there is some mad shit going down, and you are deep in some political nonsense, and you can, the second that we resolve this storyline, you can get the fuck out, and it doesn't have to remain political intrigue. It could turn into just a standard adventure scenario. You guys will have everything open to you, regardless of the outcome of what happens here. If you survive and you get out of this place, it's up to you. Does this party go to the surface? Everyone would be at a massive disadvantage.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'd all be nocturnal.
Exactly. Would this party go and try and meet with the Underdark gnomes, with the dwarves? I don't know what happens. Do you guys go and start a homestead? Do you find Gragnok? There's a billion options. Once you're done with this, you can just go and do whatever the hell you want. And
not to tell you all my plans, but I do have plans for Gragnok. As soon as our handler was like, he had plans for you, I was like, oh, really? Okay. I'll file that away in the mental filing cabinet of, because she kind of let loose oh, this is what I had planned for him. And I was like, oh, really? Okay, cool. I'll remember that. Just like in a...
It seems like the next... It's the easiest known thing outside of your current physical surroundings, right? It's the easiest known thing. You know of a dude who hauled off, you can go meet up with him or see what the fuck is going on.
Right.
and from there we can find out what's happening. Now, that's not to say that there aren't always just countless things happening within the world around you. You guys are in a very narrow pocket of some inter-house bickering and fighting right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're pawns basically right now. Like
you're right now, yeah, you're just getting used. And once you break outside of that, then you'll have exposure to the outside world. What is happening?
Yep.
What deals are going on? What wars are currently waging? There's always wars waging, right?
Always, yeah.
So, once you could break outside of this narrative, you guys will have so much opened up to you, and it will be up to you on what you want to do. And the political intrigue side of it, I just wanted to have some of it there, and it is. We're in it right now, but it doesn't have to just be the full narrative going forward. I guess also what I would say is my idea for kind of the longevity of this adventure is I don't see a particular end in sight. I have quite a few ideas of what I would like to see happen, and I would really like to feed a few people's backstories and give them some substance and give them some validation to the thought that they've put into the creation of their characters. So, I mean, I could see this going to level 15, 16, 18, something like that. It just depends on if everyone's having a good time. If we get through where we're at right now, you guys are stuck in the worst place. You are in the worst place. You need to get the hell out of this place.
I mean, some of it about going to the surface world, I like the idea of where, if we did go to the surface, where would we pop up? Because that's obviously your discretion of, we don't have to be in, I mean, you could come up in the middle of Faerun or Icewind Dale, obviously, or, you could be in the middle of anywhere, really. And I mean, to me, that's the cool part of like, oh, it's snowy around here and sucks. Should we go back? Or like, you know what I mean? Like,
could you imagine a drow in the daytime in snow?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the worst. So
you would be so blind, you'd probably be taking like damage.
Yeah.
Just from how bright it was.
Yeah, you like a hit point a day or something.
Just over a minute or something. I mean, open your eyes. You're nocturnal, and and the sun is bouncing off of this white snow. Oh Lord, yeah, your eyes would just burn, dude. There's more below you, and there's some above you before the surface. So there's a lot going on. There's multiple trading organizations that are happening.
Some legal, some illegal. Yes.
Most illegal, absolutely.
Like a 90-10 split of like, yeah.
Yeah. There's dark gnomes, there's dark dwarves, they have their own societies and capital cities and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
They're heavily slaved and oppressed by the drow, but they are independent. They're rocking their own shit. So there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot going on. There definitely is. There's a lot of opportunity. A lot of kind of frontier style shit that, you could set up your own stuff, and it's not unheard of. Folks have set up their own towns in the Underdark and have been semi-successful until being, overrun by a particular clan or something.
Yeah, I mean, in our Dragon Age thing, I think I told you, but the one guy who was the warrior was like so renowned that he just was like, I'm starting my own township, and I said, oh, that's a cool idea, and he goes, no, I've written out the farmland and grain requirements and tax already. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, did you write all that down? He said, yeah. I said, good, give it to me because I'm not writing all that down. Like, if you've already worked all that out, like, I'm not going to, maybe you need to play another character. Like, maybe you need to roll up another character that is not your guy because you're running a township at this point. You wouldn't go on the road.
Shit.
You wouldn't go on the road. There's no way your character would go on the road. So, I mean, I'm having a really good time. I can't wait till next Friday. Is there anything you want to say, good or bad at the end? Do you want to you can't wrap everything up. Are you, you're happy with how everything went? You're obviously looking forward to us rolling. I don't know. Is there anything else you wanted to add to the whole D&D thing? You just mostly played D&D, right? Like, you haven't really played... Have you played other tabletop stuff, or have you just done D&D?
Oh Lord, it's been a long time. I did play a Star Wars tabletop RPG, and it was a blast. I had a super good time with that. I'd be down to, I would be down to host or be a part of something outside of that, even if it like a more modern kind of Walking Dead thing or something. But of course, you have to have source material and have an understanding of those things, right? That's a lot of what it takes to kind of get there for that. So, no, I mean, closing statement. So far, I'm really enjoying this. What has been happening is this vision that I had for the Underdark. It's coming to fruition. This idea that I wanted us all to be a part of Underdark races, to be races that are in any other campaign evil, bad, horrible, but we don't care. We're all that, right? So it's just normal here. It's just normal. It's normal in this space. You're a bugbear. You're a drow. You're a goblin. It's all normal. We don't care. No one's just like, you're evil. We might see like a human and be like, freak out about that.
I do like the one rogue kept asking, like, is this guy good or bad? And you're like, well, that doesn't really mean a lot down here. Like, everybody's kind of on the same level of being a complete shithead. So.
Yeah. But I think it's just a fun dynamic to introduce because we're kind of breaking a lot of those D&D societal norms, right? Like, oh, well, these characters are all evil. Well, you're all evil. So are you evil to each other? No, you're just fucking normal. You're living your normal lives. Yeah. This is regular stuff. Does life suck down here? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but
it's not easy.
Yeah, but people adapt to that, and that's what they do, So.
Exactly. It's normal here. So, I am enjoying playing in this space. I think it's very fun. It's a cool kind of just dynamic shift of like, all right, we're always playing on the surface. We're always these good races. Now we're going to play on the bottom, and we are good races.
Yeah.
To ourselves, we are, sure.
Yeah.
So.
Have you enjoyed DMing more than playing, or, is it apples and oranges, or?
So far, I've enjoyed DMing equally. Maybe a little bit more. I do enjoy, like, being a participant and doing some combat and whatnot, but I also really enjoy getting to just nerd out with voices, with accents and stuff, and embody characters and try and put people on edge and do things. I have been really enjoying that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing you can do. I can't. You got voices. I don't got voices, which is fine. Yeah.
I mean, it's not necessary, but I had a lot of fun doing it. Like, I really enjoyed the whole throne scene with the lady getting to talk and, the current matron of the house getting
her nasally, like, you shitheel nasally voice she has of, like, I can't believe I'm talking to these people. Like, I can't believe I'm talking to you guys. Like, it's good.
I have a good time with it. And even for myself, it really puts my own imagination in a different place. And I'm just like, okay.
Do you have art for her, or are you just, I mean, you've described her well and everything. Is that off art, or are you just, like, going off notes or something, or?
No, it's just fully from how I have imagined her. I think I will have to find something that really shows what she looks like, but she is an elder past matron, and we'll have to find something to kind of represent her.
Yeah, I mean, I can see her clearly in my mind and everything, but like some people do, like the other members of the group, I know the rogue is like, it helps to visualize, because he hasn't really been role-playing as much as the rest of us have, so two of the members of the group haven't been role-playing as much as other members, so, which is fine, so. Well, Wes, this has been a good talk, man. I'm glad you agreed to do it. I wanted to do it when everybody got to level 4, because that's like a milestone. And I'll probably do this again when we reach another big milestone. Like, I don't know when the campaign's going to be quote unquote done, but if you're like, hey, this is the end of this arc, and it'll either take a really long time for me to plan another arc, or, I know you're having a kid soon, so you might be like, hey, these sessions are going to get a lot shorter and a lot more in between, so.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's a pleasure. Thank you. I had a great time. It's, I look forward to doing it again, and, looking forward to this narrative playing out and seeing really where this story goes for this party, because we have quite a few options. There's a lot that's going to transpire. And you guys you're in the thick of it. It's going to get very challenging, and I think that it will be a lot of fun. And assuming that you're successful or not, let's see what the outcome is, because we're going down that path right now.
And that was it. That was me talking to Wes about his first time, gaming, being a DM. So it was good to talk to him. And we'll probably do something when he's done. When we all, because he's got a kid on the way, and so whatever this arc is gonna end when the kid comes. He said he might have some time, but I think he is being incredibly optimistic. So I think that will change, but I definitely want to have maybe a thing with all of us like we did with Dragon Age several episodes back, where we'll have everybody to kind of just talk about what they felt about the campaign and everything like that. With Wes in the call, maybe we'll do like a multi-call, a multi-person call, and we'll just all talk and chat about good stuff and funny stuff and things like that. And so that was Wes in his first role as a DM. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's going to be it for this week. But I want to remind you guys again that this podcast will hit my website, www.gamewithgrief.com, Monday morning at 7 a.m. Go there. Let me know what you think of the show. You can also go to gwgpodfellows@gmail.com. Write me a line. Let me know what you think of the show. Or you can go to the Apple iTunes podcast store or the Google Play Store. Subscribe to the podcast there. Leave me the stars, likes, things like that. And you can find me on Twitter at JustLittleJoe. Let me know how you heard of the show and stuff like that. And I will try to get better about promoting the show. So have a good week. Be safe. And I will talk to you guys again next week. Bye.